Hakadosh Boker Or Masechet Menahot Daf Yomi Daf Yud Aleph. This is 11. We're going to start just on the two dots on the bottom of Yod Amubet, where it says Kamatz ve'ala biado. What happened if the Kohen came? He did the Kmitzav, the Mincha, and it came up Me'urav bekometz tzror or gargir melech. So it came up a stone or a salt, right? A kurtav levona, right? Or that means all these things. So it's going to become pasul. Why? Because it's not shalem from the solet and the shemen. It had to be the flour and the oil. All of a sudden, when he comes, he does a kmitza, there's a stone, or there's a gargir melach, there's going to be salt there, or levona, so it's going to be pasul. So says the Gemara, Kol hani lama li yod aleph amud aleph on the top. Why do I need all these three cases, these different cases? Sricha, so you need all cases. Ditan tzror, if it was only talking about the stone, mishum de lavata krava, you can bring the stone. Aval melach, but the salt, the bata krava, you could still bring it to the mizbeach. I would say it's going to be kosher. If he was only talking about the salt, that it wasn't kavua with the mincha at the beginning, right? I would say it's going to be kosher. Kamashmanan comes to teach you that it's going to be pasul. So that's why we needed all these cases. Then it says in the Gemara, in the Mishnah, if it's going to be too much or too little, it's going to be pasul. My idia mishum chaser v'yater. Why do I need the extra, meaning too much or too little? Typically mishum chatzitza. Why don't we legislate because it's a chatzitza? So Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah comes and he says minatzad. We're talking about the Mishnah is talking about where the tzror or came on the side, which means by the gudal or the zeret, by the thumb or by the pinky. Remember the gudal is the thing. The kmitza is done with the three fingers here in the middle. So you've got it came up on this side, right? On this side or the other side. So Amaleh ba'el Rava, Ketzad Konsin, how do you do kmitza? Amaleh kedekamse inche, just like people do it, which means that all the fingers are being used. So he says eitvei. He says, what are you talking about? Zo zeret, zo kmitza, zo ama, vezo etzba, vezo gudal. He says there's 5 fingers, right? One more time. The zeret, which is the pinky, kmitza, this is called the kmitza. The ama, the middle finger, the tall one, that's called the ama. Then this is going to be called the etzba, the finger, because the regular, whenever we talk about a finger, it's always this finger, the pointer. Okay? The zugudal, and this is the gudal. The gudal is the thumb. So he says, so obviously, when you tell me that the etzba smucha lezeret is the beginning of the kmitza, the zeret, you don't use the zeret at all. So what do you mean that you're using all your fingers? You're not using all your fingers. The kmitza starts from here. The zeret is outside. So he says, ela, but rather leashvot, which means that when you're going to come and you're going to anything which is sticking out, he comes afterwards and he makes it all even, right? So therefore he has to be right. So he's going to come and he's going to do like this, right? Which is basically to lashvot bagudolo, right? So therefore, Hechal, how do you do it? So you're going to fold the 3 fingers and you're going to do the kmitza. Right? We also learned in the right. I would have thought to say that it's going to be coming out from the hand. Or it's only just the top parts of the finger. The entire amount. So you fold it, and then you're going to do the kmitza. Right? Whether it's talking about the machvat or the marcheshet. Now, when you finish, you're going to have to chofef, which means you're going to have to take off the extras from the top and from the bottom. So from the bottom, you're doing it with your pinky, and the top, you're doing it with the thumb. So he says this is one of the very difficult avodot in the Bet HaMikdash, right? Because it's very difficult to use your thumb and your pinky in such a way, right, in order to not to make it it's too much or too little. Zeo vetulois is what? That's only 2 things. Ahika melika. Melika is also very difficult, right? It's not simple. Melika, where you're going to come and you're going to use the thumb to cut off the neck of the thing with not the thumb. Well, it's the thumb, but it's the nail of the thumb to cut off the head. Veika chafina. You also have chafina, which is of the Yom Kippurim, which is also an avodah kasher. So says the Gemara, you're right. This is one of the very difficult ones which are done in the Bet HaMikdash. So Amar Rav Papa says, Pshitali, it's obvious to me when it says Kumlo Kumso, it comes to Inche. By Rav Papa says, Kamas Rashetz Beotav. What happens if he did use, though, only Rashetz Beotav? Okay? And therefore it was only done, meaning he did it like downward, so it didn't actually take the entire inside of the palm. It's only the shetz beotav, which is the top part. Mai, what's halacha? Or minat sadin, if he did it from the sides, right? Mai, what's halacha? Or mimata lemala, if he put the gav yado klape mata, right, and then he picked it up, right? So he says, what's halacha? In all these cases, if it's not done the normal way, what's happening? So teiko, we don't have an answer. I mean, we don't have an answer if all this was good or not. In these ways, which is not the normal way of doing it. So Amar Papa says, Pshitali, it's obvious. So by Rav Papa says, if you only did Rashetz Votav or Minat Sadin, right? What's halacha? Or if you did it Chafina Zu Bezu, which means each yad separately, Kirvanzu, so you brought them both together, what's halacha? Again, the same halacha, teku. We don't have an answer on all these questions as well, which is very similar to the other one. So by Rav Papa, right? Dabke lekomets v'dafne demana. What happens if you madbik the komets to the kli? Okay, what's the halacha? Does it become holy that way or not? Toch kli bainan. Do you need it inside of the kli or vayika, and you do have it inside the kli? Or di manacha betocho bainan. You need to place it in the kli, and you don't have it. Again, teku. We don't have an answer. By Rav Ashi says avche lemana. What happens if he was afech the kli, right? When you wanted to be mekadesh the komets, and you put it on the bottom. What's halacha? Hanacha b'tocho. Do you need to place it inside of it and you have it, or maybe do you need to do it the normal way, right? And you don't have that. Teiku, again, we do not have the answer. So these were just a few teikus at the end of when you're not doing it the normal way. Is it still going to be kosher or no? Says the Mishnah in the middle of Yudalef Amudalef. Keitzad will say, what does he do exactly? He's going to open up his hands, right? Basido, riba shamna. If there's too much shemen, chaser shemna, or it's lacking, chisel levonota, psula, or if it's going to be choser, right? Lacking the levona, the frankincense, it's going to be pasul. So hechi damidi b'shemena. How is it going to have so much wine, so much oil? Amar Rabbi Lazar, kegon shifrich shne lugin. You put 2 lugin instead of 1. Okay, and then you mixed it up. So says the Gemara, velukma kegon de'adid b'shemen dechulin shemen dechaverta. Why don't you say that it was mixed up shemen of chulin and with another shemen, right, from another mincha? And if you're going to tell me shemen dechul v'shemen dechaverta lo pasal, doesn't make it disqualified. That when we already mentioned that when minchat choteh, we didn't want him to benefit, so therefore it's not going to be very meudar. So there's no shemen. So what's the case? If you're going to tell me that it has its own shemen, halela doesn't have shemen. If it's going to be a chulin chaverta, you just told me that it doesn't make it pasul. So Rabbi Elazar, according to Rabbi Elazar, lo mi by a kamar. We didn't need to say it. Lo mi by not only in the case of chulin chaverta the pasul that it's going to be pasul, but if you separate it shne lugim, 2 different logs, ho'il since the chazile, each one is chazile. So ema lo mifsal, I would say it's not going to become pasul. Kamashman comes to teach you, right, that it does become pasul. Uminale Rabbi Elazar, how do we know this? Samarava says matini kashite, right? We had the question from the Mishnah. Now, why are we talking about Limna B'Shemna? Literally, we should have just said Ribala Shemen. There's going to be extra Shemen. And like Mashmalan comes to teach you, Avgav di Frishla Shne Lugin, even though you came and you separated the 2 different Lugins. Chisel Levonta, Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in the Braita, Chasra V'amdal Kurt Echad Pesula. If it's going to be lacking the Levona, right, and now you only have 1 Kurt, it's going to be Pasul. Al Shne Krotin, it's going to be kosher. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon Omer, Al Kurt Echad is going to be kosher. Pachom Mikan is going to be Pesula. Yudalef Amubet. Says the Gemara, Tanya, we learned in a Braita, Kometz levona shechaser kol shu pasul, it's going to be pasul. So he says, Tani kol levona shechaser kol shu pasul. You're right. We have to say the komets, instead of saying komets, you have to say kurt, which comes out that the Braita is teaching you, right, exactly like Rabbi Shimon. That the levona is going to be kosher as long as it's going to be left over, even kurt echad. V'baytemer, if you want, you can answer another answer. Kam belevona by mincha, here we're talking about the levona which is coming with the mincha, and here we're talking about the levona which is coming by itself. When it's coming by itself, right, you need the molo komets, and therefore he says by that case it's going to be pasul if it's lacking, but not if it's coming with the mincha. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak bar Yosef and Rabbi Yochanan. Shlosh machlok b'davar. There's actually 3 machlokot here. Rabbi Meir holds savar komets b'tchila v'komets b'sof. Right, that means basically you need the shiur milo komets alevona at the beginning and also the end. Rabbi Yehuda says komets b'tchila u'shnei kurtim. You need 2 kurtim at the end. Rabbi Shimon says komets b'tchila v'kurt echad b'sof. 1 komets at the beginning and 1 kurt at the end. But they all learned it from the same pasuk. You need that the levona should be just like the mincha at the beginning. And therefore, according to him, you need the levona to be at the beginning with the mincha, which means that the levona has to be during the time of the kmitza until the time of ketara, the exact same. Rabbi Yehuda holds when it says kol, vafilu chad kort, even one kort is going to be fine. Et lerabo kort echad, because the word et is coming to include one. Rabbi Shimon, he doesn't doresh the et, and therefore he says when it says kol, it's coming to teach you that it's kol shehu levona, even kort echad is going to be okay. The machloket is going to be with the levona coming with the mincha. But if the levona by itself, according to everybody, komets betchilah v'komets basof, that's what you need. So he says lehachi itzich, and that's why you need asher al mincha. Tevahadi mincha in, but if it's coming with the mincha, fine. If it's coming by itself, no. The machloket is talking about the levona coming with the mincha, but levona which is coming with the bazichin, according to everybody, you need shnek matzin at the beginning and shnek matzin at the end. So says Gemara Pshita, obviously. Why did he have to teach that? So he says, I would have thought to say, given the Vahadi Lechem, it's coming with the breads. So it's like Asher al Minchat, yeah? Kamash Malan comes teach you that no, that it's coming, right? That it's a levona coming with the mincha. The pligi Rabbi Ami, Rabbi Nafcha, Chalamar Machlok levona ba mincha, one of them levona ba bifnei atzma, according to everybody you need, kometz betchila, kometz basof. The Chadamar, one of them says, no, the machloket is kach machloket bezuz, kach machloket bezu. Okay, fine. The two dots. Chisel levonota pasul. Hayati kshera, if it's going to be more, it's going to be kosher. Avatani yeti psula. So he says, Amar Mechama, kegon shifrisha shnek matzin. You separated two kmatzin. Amar Mechama, yifrisha shnek matzin, vavad echamen kmitza, lo hukbeu, right? Ela, the kmitza hukbeu. We're talking about the two kmitze levona. Amar Mechama, yifrisha ba kmatzin lishne bazechin. Ve'avdu shnayim mehen kodem siluk bazechin. Lo hukbeu, le'achar siluk bazechin hukbeu. But it was going to be kavua. So Atulam, why do we need both cases? Hainuhach. So he says, Ma'u the I would have thought to say, Kevan de verid kometz dida, Kevan shegias manal forka, it's like forka damya, meaning the fact that it's time to take it off, it's already considered you took it off. Kamash Malan comes teach you that the levona of the lechem apanim is not going to be kavua for pasul until they actually take it off before, not at the time that you're fitting to take it off.